Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Let's get going. I want to remind everybody before I get going, the Ledger stacks, they're still doing the pre-orders. The link is in the very top of the description, and they're going to be shipping these things in May 2023. I've already pre-ordered mine, so you can check that out if you want. All right, this is a good point from Wheezy. I want to make sure I bring to your attention. It says, I've been thinking if the judge sends the case to the jury trial, what would be a price reaction for XRP and how far? I would assume that would be a negative price reaction, because that would mean more time, build up, then, oh no, here's more time. But the reason I wanted to show you this is because everybody, in my opinion, everybody needs to peep. There are about 20, I think Jeremy Hogan said there's like 20 something combinations of how this thing could end. Some could be good, some could be bad. This case could easily be resolved and it be perceived to be bad and end up being good for XRP. So, but everybody needs to be prepared. My experience in this space is anytime you're expecting something really good, a lot of times it ends up really bad. Now, a lot of people may not be expecting good. They may be expecting bad. I'm expecting a settlement because I don't think that we're ever going to see those Hinman documents. Till I see those Hinman unredacted documents, I'll still stick by those guns. Now, or until an attorney tells me that settlement's not an option anymore. But I think it's an option for pretty good ways down the road. All right. So this came out today. Crypto companies seeking to go public in the U.S. are finding the SEC review process increasingly lengthy, sometimes anchored in close to 100 questions. In other words, Gary Gensler is trying to hold up companies from going public. All right? And I said, our government should be whining and dining companies like Ripple to get them to stay in the United States and provide jobs and add to the economy. Instead, Gary Gensler is trying to run them offshore. Who does this guy really work for? Maybe someone should ask George Soros, who he's met with multiple or talked to on his calendar multiple times. One of those meetings he tried to hide, scrubbed it from his public calendar. Speaking of Gary's public calendar, I just happened to check today, and his August calendar has now come out. We're still missing September through December. And nobody in Congress seems to be asking him. Well, the most interesting thing in his calendar entry today is, and you should know that Gary he's making sure that he's keeping up good relations with his communist Chinese counterparts, because here is his meeting on August 19th, his phone call with the Chinese Securities Regulatory Commission, because of course he needs good relations with them. He does not need to worry about the 75,000 plus XRP holders, some of which are Americans, not all, that John Deaton represents, because he's been hurting us for a continuous over 2 years and doesn't seem to be worried about us at all. But he is having good relations with the communist Chinese. Hope that makes you feel good. Now, this is a video I think was played a while back, but it popped back up. It was put back out, and it's worth you hearing because a lot of you probably didn't. Listen to this.
The size of your debt problem is so big that it can't be paid off. And in fact, even inflation, which is the usual way you would seek to default on your debt slowly over time, you can't get enough inflation generated. Then there is one further option, and that is you literally abandon the entire system of money and accounting. And I know that sounds unbelievably radical, but we've seen it happen before. And I explained the example of Britain in 1834, when they abandoned the traditional system they'd used for 1,000 years at that time, which was called the tally stick system. Anyway, bottom line was, why would you abandon a system that's worked perfectly beautifully for 1,000 years? And the answer is, you had 200 years of war debts that had accumulated. They were unable to get inflation up enough without causing social unrest. And so the government said, hey, let's actually take the tally sticks back and give people this great new innovation called paper money. In fact, we're on the brink of a similar step change. And the way you'll do it is you're going to move to electronic money in conjunction with blockchain. Blockchain is the new ledger, and e-money is the new currency. The question is, whose e-money?
There you go. That is the question, isn't it? Okay. Now, there's several videos that were going around this morning. This one's from Digital Perspectives that were interesting. Watch the beginning of this.
Now, what's going on right now with our Federal Reserve note?
What is going on right now is that paper currency never works. It always crashes. And we are just at the moment that we have the time to convert that to treasury dollars. And this is exactly what Ronald Reagan was trying to do when he did a study, and he found out that 100% of our income taxes are leaving the country and going to the bankers. That's what John F. Kennedy was doing. And John F. Kennedy, he had accessed the wealth of the world and the gold that we're supposed to have. The Federal Reserve does not have the gold that the United States is supposed to have backing its dollar. That gold is there, but it's not going to be backing the Federal Reserve note. And so we have got to transition very quickly to the real currency in the United States. And Ronald Reagan printed that currency. It's there waiting for us. And we just simply have to exchange it.
What?
Very simply. And we will not have any economic dislocation. Otherwise, you better believe this country is not going to have any more military might. If we stay with the Federal Reserve note, we will have lost our standing completely. As it is right now, the Federal Reserve note is no longer what's called international reserve currency. That means that the countries are using other currency in their international trade. The BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, that's 25% of trade. They're not using the dollars with their own trade. And 133 developing countries, that's the group of 77, they've announced that they...
So you can see where everything's going. Now, then there was this one. Now, this guy right here, this is the head of the BIS, which is the Central Bank of Central Banks. I want to say I've shown a video of this guy before. If I had to sum up what I think this guy is, it's one of those 3-letter agencies that we don't talk about on this channel. I think he's probably involved with one of them. Watch this.
Banker's point of view about how to move forward with digital currency.
I have little doubt, to be honest, that these gentlemen's august institutions and the Bank of Banks will be in business for hundreds of years to come. The question is what form they will have in the years to come. Certainly there is a lot of hype about how much could be transformed. I don't think, as I mentioned at the end of my remarks, that we're at the threshold of a big revolution, but it's going to be some significant changes in the future. And there are many positives, I think, to be taken from what is happening with digitalization of currencies. It will bring more, activities out of the shadows into the formal part of the financial system. It will give people more access to the financial system. And that, I think, is a really important part if you think not just about financial markets, but about the economy as a whole. One of the reasons why, especially in emerging markets, but in many other countries, we are seeing certain retrograde political forces gaining power is because many people don't feel connected to the economy. And I think connection to the financial system is a very important part of it. If you feel that the reforms in a country are going to benefit the elite who are connected and most of the others are left out, this is, I think, a very important part of that connection. So I think there is, at some level, really transformative power in the new technologies and as central banks adopt these technologies. But I worry also about potentially downplaying certain aspects of what we are seeing in the world out there. I think the trust...
I wanted to point out, I guess he's professor of international trade policy at Cornell. That does not preclude the possibility that there's a 3-letter agency involved there. Okay, wanted to show you this. This has been shown before, but I don't know why, but it was making its rounds again today, and it's a very interesting video. I wanted to just show you part of what this guy's saying.
Hey guys, a lot of people are asking me the question of what do I predict the price to be? I'm not going to tell you 1,000. I'm not going to tell you 10,000. I'm not going to tell you 589 from The Simpsons, Blackboard, Bart Simpson writing it. I'm not going to say any of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a calculation, simple one, using the XRPL that I showed you in the prior video. So, utilizing this here, this value that I'm showing you here, this is basically what is being burnt off on the XRPL now per transaction. So that is how much XRP is being burned per each one of these that is going through. So we've got all these transactions going through, and they're going through every 3.8 seconds. So, I mean, I don't know how much is going through on each one of these without actually inspecting it, but the average transaction fee, which is how much XRP is being burned, is what I'm interested in, right? And as you can see, it's changing all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that value and I'm going to enter it into this. So what I'm saying here is this is the current XRP price. This is the average transaction price. So I'm going to enter what I can see on my screen now, which is 0.0005701. And as you can see, it's giving me a total cost per transaction, which is less than 1 cent. And this is how many transactions I can do per XRP. And this is telling me how much XRP is if I times that by that, and that's how much I get as a price. Now, let's predict using the same logic. Let's put the price of a transaction to 1 cent. Now XRP is worth £17.54. Let's put this down to 50 cents. It's now worth 877. Now let's do the ultimate $1. It's now worth 1,750.
I think you've seen enough there. That's pretty cool though. I'm trying to see these tabs. Light's hitting me funny. Okay, so this was, there's been a lot of, I guess you'd call it fighting going on over this flare thing. This guy, Oz Crypto, who you can give a follow, he's at Oz Crypto 2. He's also got a YouTube channel. He did at least one YouTube video on this. I saw part of one of them. But Oz Crypto has uncovered, it looks like he's uncovered where some of these FTSOs having to do with flare, they had looked. I think what he's saying is that they had done some dumping of the flare before it came out. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I'm watching it, but I haven't really studied what's going on here much. But that might be kind of like today's project for me to start to understand what's going on. Just wanted to make you aware of it. Why do you think Brian Armstrong has apparently, he used to have .eth on the end of his screen name, and he's removed it, which I find very interesting. I would have removed it a long time ago. Also, we've got this. There's a court action. They're going after, they're seeking damages from the Bitcoin cashbacker Roger Ver related to alleged failure to settle cryptocurrency options transactions that expired on December 30th, 2022. I think this has to do with FTX. This guy says couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I actually met Roger Ver when I was in Singapore, and he was a very nice guy to me. I don't know what they're referring to there. Now, this is from Library, and Library, their final hearing is on the 30th, open to the public. It says if the SEC gets their way at this hearing, the secondary sales, user sales of most cryptocurrencies would be illegal. So show your support for those guys. And then right here, you'll see, I'm not going to play the video because it will make me want to throw up on my keyboard. This is Gary Gensler. He put this tweet out, I guess, yesterday. And you can see the narrative that he's trying to create. He's created this term, crypto security tokens. He's trying to make all crypto security tokens, and just lop them in with fixed income and stocks and options and all the other stuff. And this is all a power grab. That's what it's always been. And so we'll keep our eye on all of that. Now, right here it says CZ Binance, that's the CEO of Binance, alleges that FTX paid news organizations $43 million for publishing negative articles about Binance. Well, I've been watching this since 2013, and we have seen, you talking about paid advertising, there has been a paid campaign from everywhere from Wall Street to Washington, D.C. to New York, you name it. it has been a paid campaign for the public to hear nothing but Bitcoin, Ethereum. And they also, part of that was regulatory capture against Ripple, XRP, and an attack, every kind of attack you can imagine, from lawsuits to pundits going on CNBC and talking down about XRP. It has been a concerted effort. We've watched it every step of the way. And it's not just XRP, it's also, we've seen them do it to Cardano. Anything that they perceive as a threat to the precious Bitcoin and Ethereum, these guys it has been planned and orchestrated from day one. And I used to just scratch my head about it. Now I know better. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that it's been a coordinated effort for years